Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Thank you for watching this video. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Anang Fatwani. I am student master in University Muhammadiyah of Surakarta in English Education Department. In this special opportunity, I would like to explain about my article entitled Introduction to English Vocabulary through Audiovisual Media or Animation in KBI Siang Rawo. For the content in this list, first there are background of study, and then literature review, research methods, result and discussion, and then conclusion and bibliography. For the first explanation about the background of the study, in this introduction to English vocabulary can be done in various ways through reading, listening, and watch. Increase vocabulary or mastery of the vocabulary more than in the words of education, especially preschool educational institutions such as KB institution. Remember, the vocabulary of children still limit. And then in the learning process is any media use must be able to attract children's attention so that it can grow motivation study. And then the teacher teaching materials will be clear, meaning so that it can be better understood by the child, and less the child master better teaching goals, as well as method teaching will be more varied. And then children or students who are early age relies heavily on ability reception on the listening side, deep acquisition of English vocabulary. Besides that, to streamly absorption English vocabulary for children can be done by giving the media, which is interesting. And then vocabulary recognizing a process expect through the media which can foster interest in learning so that the vocabulary they learn will continues to stick in memory and can apply it in everyday life. And then the researcher feel that in this necessary conducted research at KBI Siang Rawa Karanganyar Agency, this method due to lack of vocabulary master English in children or participant students age 4 until 6 years in the region. And then so that researchers took the initiative to provide vocabulary recognition training English through audiovisual media in the form of animated image in early childhood in the areas mentioned above. And then about the literature review, the definition of vocabulary first, according to Sujito, vocabulary or the vocabulary is defined as the first all the words contained in the language, and then the world of words that are owned by a speaker or writer, and then the word used in a field science, and a list of words range like a dictionary as well as a brief explanation and practical practice. And then the vocabulary expansion of according to Kiraf defines the stage expansion of vocabulary as follows. Childhood vocabulary expansion in children more emphasis on vocabulary, especially the ability to nomination for concert ideas. It just need a term to pronounce the words regardless. And then adolescence at the time of the child stepping on school, the process earlier is still ongoing, coupled with a process that is deliberately held for master the language and expand vocabulary. And then the vocabulary types, according to Harlock, types of vocabulary, namely general vocabulary. The general vocabulary consists of nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. And then about the understanding audiovisual media. According to Wina Sanjaya, 2010, In her book, Standard-Oriented Learning Strategy, the educational process divides the classification and kinds of learning media, namely, the first one about the visual media, namely media only can be seen, only does not contain sound elements, and then included in media are slide films, photo, transparencies, paintings, pictures, and various forms of print materials such as graphic media and other. And then the audiovisual media, namely the type of media which beside containing sounds elements as well contain image elements that can fuse, for example, video footage, various movie size, sound slide, and more, etc. And then move to the next topic about the research method. This research is emphasized in the activity of creating study groups English through in the approach the use of audiolingual learning media animation to help and provide educational solution for increase inside the intelligence for early childhood with as many as for 40 students ranging in age 4 until 6 years in KBIC Rawo Karanganyar Regency. And then the result and discussion of this article. The research processes began with providing training, listen, and English vocabulary by using animation media. Then children are given the opportunity to listen for 3 times for each the words for animation and the number contained in animation and demonstrated by extension agent in a loud and correct voice so that children can listen clearly and clear. And then the children enthusiastically and loud voice together capable pronounce vocabulary correctly. Although there are some children who are still slower because their age range from 4 until 6 years, while looking towards animation with picture of animals and numbers, multicolor and cute and interesting shapes. And the next stage, looking at the children able to repeat and imitate one's words spoken by the extension worker, that the extension worker tells the meaning of each word bits of animals while pointing towards the animation and do it repeatedly and many times, 3 times for each word. And then the extension again provides opportunities for children to know the ability them in mentioning the meaning of the vocabulary English contained in the animation. At the end of the study, the researcher provides stimulants to give tests wants to know about by giving simple questions on the topic learning and vocabulary recognition, English through image animation media. And then the children who can answer the question from the instructor receive a prize in the form of candy, chocolate, and stationery, so that more passionate about learning language vocabulary English. So the parts of discussion, the first about the conducting this research was conducted by researcher with observe every development and the ability of children to learn vocabulary English. Then the second, indeed, among them on the stage, is not all experience change significantly and distinctly due to their age factor and be categorized as a toddler that some of still their embrace because it still depend on people, their parents. And then the third, they evaluate at the end of the event and done fairly by submitting some questions to ask the child about English vocabulary that is already in practice during the learning process in the classroom. And the conclusion of this article, the first about based on the research result that been implemented by researchers through several stages that have been described in this result and discussion. You see animate audiovisual media to improve the use of language vocabulary English child become enthusiastic and not fast feel bored. And then this is due to animation which is attractive and colorful and looks live and real, and the goals and objectives of this research can draw on conclusion on the use of audiovisual media animations can improve vocabulary mastery, English words, and interest in learning on students age 4 until 6 year at KBS Yang Rawo Karanganyar University. So I think that's all from my presentation about my article. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.